Good morning, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day, and yes, it is a little bit late-ish. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. I've just said that, I think. I've said it again. As mentioned, I am Graham. This is the man that we call Babe, and we are Ice Cream Uploads in true ice creamy fashion. This is the scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some may say, Buzz that says it, some may say the UK's #1 video game podcast, and we would be goddamn right. If you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved. As if, literally, I've checked the audio yesterday and the day before. Fine, today I didn't bother checking it. Poundland Wally, that's what you want. Okay, BRB. If you're listening to this on the podcast, the audio is shit in itself, so we'll BRB.
Ground. Just giving you some running commentary, guys. Steam Bootstrapper is being eliminated. And I quote, "Get the fuck out of here."
You're goddamn right. We are back. How is that? Does the audio sound okay now? We are back. Yeah, it sounds good. So yeah, basically the issue I've said before, for those of you that may be new here, the issue I think is a resource thing, which is bizarre because I've got shitloads. I've got enough RAM and enough memory and everything that should be able to run it. I think that's what it is, because I've eliminated RTX voice and everything. Anyway, we won't bother about that. Mic is good. Nice. Anyway, welcome in. There may be some background noise, so even though the audio is fixed now, you may get additional audio because things have been ripped out of my house. So apologies for that, which is the reason why we've started a little bit later, because I couldn't get in here. So there you go. Nice. If you're in the chat, please feel free to use your voice, though, this morning. And it's important that you do, because we're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest and the best breaking stories from the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions in return. If you're in the chat with us live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish, then please feel free to use your voice on behalf of everyone that watches and listens on demand a little bit later, because we turn this live stream into a podcast, a video for YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So please use your voice on behalf of all of those guys. Nice. Before we do jump into the news, a couple of things to mention. Do you know what? I'm just going to tell you the chatbot commands, even though the chatbot isn't alive. Nice. First things first, exclamation mark loot drop. It's not live yet, chatbot, so don't type it just yet. Give it a few seconds. Exclamation mark loot drop will tell you how you can get yourself a monthly freebie just by being a subscriber at Ice Cream Uploads. Exclamation mark insert coin will tell you how you can save money by buying yourself some insert coin clothing. And exclamation mark muscle moose is how you can save money on some muscle moose products. So there you go. Bit of shout out, a bit of love for some of our friends. Actually, let me say another bit of love for some of our friends. Well, you can see it on my head, and you occasionally get to see it right here, although there's a GT Mega logo and a Muslim logo there. We also have Corsair on the screen. Corsair obviously is the same business as Elgato. And shout out to the people at Elgato that may be hooking us up with a few extra products as well to make things just work a little bit smoother and sound a little bit better for you guys. So shout out to Elgato for that. Much appreciated. Hopefully we can share that with you guys when those things turn up. So GG's. Tito, good morning! Exclamation mark loot drop. Let me jump back up to the top so I'm not going from bottom up. Mike says, hey guys, I got rejected for the 2K internship. RIP. To be fair, their reasoning was fair enough. Okay, well, yeah, do you know what? Plenty more jobs in the sea. I mean, there's plenty of jobs in the sea. There's like mermaid, and then there's like killer whale. So yeah, go for those. Yeah, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be. Not meant to be. It's not meant to be because there's something better, something more better suited. I genuinely hate the job application process, because I've applied for jobs that I've been. I'll say it without ego, even though it sounds it. I've applied for jobs that I'm more than suited for, that I know I can kick the shit out of, and being turned down without even getting past sending in the CV, because there's so many people going for so many jobs that quite often fine nuances or how someone interprets your CV can be the difference between you getting a job or not. had people for interviews. I've run interviews, and I've had people CVs that seemed like they were going to be incredible, and then when you got them in person, not so much, and vice versa. I've had people where you thought, okay, well, we'll give this person a try, and then they come in and they're like, wow, okay, this person's wonderful. So anything like that, don't worry.
I fit into the farmer.
Yeah. Anything like that, it's literally just like a numbers game. So it could be a case of something you might just not have presented well. I don't mean that in a negative way, or they may have interpreted it wrong, or they may just be slight things that you can work on. I mean, if they give you good reasoning, which you've said they've done, that allows you to build on it going forward. So that is the best situation, though. You didn't get it, but you got constructive stuff. The worst thing for us, we try to not ignore people entirely. It's not always possible, but if people apply for jobs at Jelly, we try to give them this is why, so they at least have something to work on, which is very useful when your office is based like on the edge of Blackpool, because it's not city centre, so you've not got like a full city of people. For us, it's quite useful because if we give people pointers for how they can improve, they may come back again and be the person, which we've had that happen in the past. So yeah, the fact that they're giving you notes is nice, but yeah, don't sweat it. It's just one step along the road. It's fine.
Thank you for the ice cream.
Gagad says, good morning, gents. Good morning, dude. How are we doing? At least they gave... Oh, there we go. At least we gave me feedback, which is useful. JP Morgan Chase, I passed the psychometric test, mathematics test, and data analysis test, and they basically told me the UOB isn't prestigious enough. Really? I mean, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I mean, you're good enough, but you're just not from the certain class. Okay. Fuck off. Good morning, Callum. I'll read. Anyway, how are you guys? All good, mate. All good. Mr. Robo Daniel, or Robbo, if you bib it, is in the chat. Thank you for the audio shout out.
Big Robbo.
Hey, balked audio. Appreciate the shouts. Cheers, boys. Madge, good morning. I'm super busy with work today, so I'm not sure I'll be able to catch much of today's show. No worries. The fact that you're here now is wonderful. Appreciate it. Why don't you watch it later in VOD? Did you know it's also on YouTube? Oh, there we go. Tino, wielding the sword of power like a ledge. Why, yes. Asim says, who wants to work for 2K? Exactly. There you go. I mean, that's the good side. You don't have to work alongside Tassim and Via, noted industry leakers. So there is that. I mean, some good games and shit, and you know, there's other good people that work there as well. But this Tassim and Via as well. So yeah. Mad says 2K per month. Yes, please. That's just Bibby's like getting out of bed salary. That one.
That's pocket money.
Bibby 2 Lambos over there. When we say 2 Lambos, I just want to clarify. That's just a running joke. 2 Lambos, like 1 for each foot. He has way more than 2, just in case you wondered. Recruiters spend so little time reading CVs. Yours really has to pop and catch their eye. Gagad says, I won't even get out of my bed for 2K. Tito to Asim says, they hire really dodgy people, I hear. Yeah, that's true. Took my missus 14 months to get a job after losing the last one due to COVID. At the moment, it's ridiculous. It is very hard for people. I mean, we've just hired some people.
It seems like retail, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
seems to be a lot of retail.
a lot of retail, a lot of businesses don't want to try and bring people on in an environment where they can't have them in the office and get them fully up to speed. A lot of businesses are scared of bringing new staff on. So it is difficult for many, many reasons. So not only that, there is a lot more people looking for jobs as well. So just in terms of that, you are in a pond that has a lot more fishing than usual whenever you apply for a job as well. So there you go. Enick says, bro, I'm so tired. No, Asim says, on a serious note, I got rejected for games industry role many times before finally getting. Keep knocking the door, working hard, and it will eventually open. True story, says Jordan. That is a very true story. And the thing is, the door will often open, as I know it has done for a lot of people, in ways that you won't necessarily expect it. I got into the industry by writing Pez articles in my spare time a million years ago, and now I trick people into thinking I know what I'm doing for a living. So there you go. But before that, I was applying for jobs left, right, and centre, and I have applied for jobs that I'm more than qualified for, got rejected, and then worked my way into the industry, and then found that I would have absolutely smashed it in that job anyway. So there you go. It's everything is a dance in that sort of way. Sometimes the stars just have to align, even if you've got the skills and you've got the right class of university, as you said. University of Bolton? Nah, mate, don't even bother. Just tell them that you went to a different one. University of near Manchester. There we go. That's the one. I have a placement at Bolton Wanderers in their social media department from March until June. I'm super hyped for that, to be fair. Nice. There you go. GG. Morning, ice creamers. And Chatteroo says, Yeehaw. Good morning, sir. How the devil are you? Just reminded me when I came out of furlough, I'm hiring over 50 staff for my Manchester operation. Bibby, not Bibby, Enick should have said in the chat, runs an online thing called Carnage Bot, and they take all of the PS5.
For the low price of £250, you can get started with this pyramid scheme.
Robo says, I got in by being a nerdy nerd. That's the best way. It's the best way. It means that you're committed. Can we hear more from the other guy? It's hard to understand that Yorkshire accent. Get the fuck out of here. Charming.
Mine's not much better, if I'm being honest.
I remember them Pez articles. I feel old. Back in day. My job is a potential redundancy in the next month or so. I've got a meeting soon. If it happens, then it is what it is, unfortunately. That sucks. But
hopefully you've been there long enough to get a nice juicy redundancy from it.
There's plenty more jobs in the sea, as we've already established. It is what it is, as you say. I didn't even graduate, and even then I studied audio production, says Robo. I mean, all the best people studied audio production. I studied media and radio production at university. I wanted to be involved in radio, which is quite ironic because I know a lot about stream setups now, but my weak bit is audio setups, so nice. There you go. It's not like I've got a degree there or whatever. Asim says, Gary, you can go full-time with OnlyFans. Do you know what? Ice Cream uploads instant subscription, so there you go. Who wants invites? I'll get you them Xboxes and PS5s. Tito says, I'll keep my fingers crossed. I remember mine and Graham's attempt at gaming journalism with grade.a.co.uk. That wasn't bad, though, to be fair. I did use that on my CV a few times. We just never finished actually developing the website. That was the main thing. But it was good. It was good. Way back when. I worked in music and events before gaming, says Robo. Robo Daniel. No, I think you've mentioned that before, actually. I think you mentioned that in chat. Okay, there we go. Let's catch up. We are caught up. Let's jump into some news. So we've already put the headline story out on social media. Let me jump into the split screen so you can see a bit more of Bib. And his sexy boudoir of lighting. Yeah. We like it. Nice.
I've actually got changed today, Graham.
I know, I can see.
Which is different. I've actually put like a shirt and a t-shirt on rather than just wearing a hoodie. Yeah, a dressing gown. I mean, it's business up top, party down below. I've still got my Batman pajama bottoms on. You know what I mean? I'm not a fucking psychopath. But yeah, I just thought today, instead of just wearing like a Stone Roses t-shirt, a Crash Bandicoot Spyro, or some other video game t-shirt, I'd dress up as if I was going to the office-ish. I'd usually do my hair, but again, I'm not a psychopath.
No comment.
You bastard.
Yeah, no comment. Before I jump in, though, Goyard THFC, thank you for the follow. Pirate, Robo Daniel, Magic Man, thank you very much for the hosts this morning. We appreciate everyone that drops a host, by the way. It helps with channel exposure, so thank you very much for that. Even if you're just lurking, much appreciated. So everyone being here. Marcel Circo 2009 has dropped a follow as well. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate that. Tito says housecoat. Pirate says I prefer the dressing gown. Tito says housecoat. It's not a housecoat. I was actually randomly thinking about that either this morning or last night. I can't remember what it was. It was this morning. I was brushing my teeth and I had my dressing gown / housecoat. I've never heard of housecoat, by the way. But yeah, there you go. Question for the chat. I don't know if Damo is still here. Damo 68. Can we hear more from the other guy? It's hard to understand that Yorkshire accent. Is that someone I know IRL in real life, or is that someone just giving me the stick?
Giving you shit.
Yeah, I mean both are acceptable, fine. But just questions. Anyway, whilst you answer that, I will jump into our first news article of the day. Where is it? There we go. So this one you will have seen after we tweeted it out. We tweet out what our lead story is every day, just as we go live in our Go Live tweet funnily enough, twitter.com/Ice Cream Uploads. That's the address. But this is it. Andy Chalk at PC Gamer says GameStop share price hits a new record high after Elon Musk tweets about it. Just going to stop it. Does anyone want to get Elon Musk to tweet about Ice Cream Uploads? Do you think? No? Okay, fine. Never mind. The GameStop story continues to be a wild ride. The chairman of Virgin Galactic is also now a shareholder. So this article was updated on January 26 as GameStop's share price continued to climb to record heights, driven in part by a tweet from Elon Musk. Click here to get caught up. Okay. Do we go click that first and come? Do you know what? I'm going to click it and we'll come back. Is that the same article? It is the same article. Okay. Let's jump down and start there. Okay, this looks like we're going to start and then go up to the update. Fine. The GameStop ride continued today as the company's share prices rose to a new high of $148. But that wasn't the end of it. The price shot past $230 in after-hours trading. A surge attributed largely to Elon Musk, who shared his particular brand of market insight on Twitter, along with a link to Wall Street Bets subreddit. Musk isn't the only high-profile. Let's get rid of that advert. Musk isn't the only high-profile figure with deep pockets to hop aboard the GameStop train. Should have let Bibby read this one. I love how good Bibby is with names. So Chamath Palihapitiya, the chairman of Virgin Galactic and founder of the venture capital firm Social Capital, is also now a GME shareholder. Some rich people are clearly having fun with the chaos, but others are likely sweating bullets. According to Business Insider, short seller losses on GameStop in 2021, which is still less than a month old, have now hit $5 billion. The Wall Street Journal reported yesterday that Melvin Capital Management required a $2.75 billion investment to stabilize the company after it took massive losses on short stocks, including GameStop. A highly upvoted message in the Wall Street Bet subreddit emphasized the most personal nature of the GameStop run among retail investors, and not too subtly suggested that unless someone figures out a way to make all of this illegal, which is not at all out of the question, it will happen again. Remember that scene from The Sopranos where Tony's wife calls to buy 5,000 shares of Webonics after she was manipulated emotionally to do so? Institutions and hedge funds want us to be stuck in that world, Redditor Ben Affleck wrote. They're scared of the future. They're scared because so much information is available for free now. There's no more fees for trading. We have large communities that discuss stocks and trading openly. We can think and make decisions for ourselves, which scares the fuck out of old school institutions and hedge funds. While GameStop appears to be the priority right now, the subreddit has already reportedly turned its attention to AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, and BlackBerry. Okay, let's jump back up. This might need a little bit deciphering in chat because there's a lot of things that's just going over my head, but we'll go through it. So this is now the updated article. It's been a long time since GameStop had any real relevance for PC gamers. I used to love popping in and rifling through the bargain bins in search of sub $10 boxes, but the rise of Steam put an end to that pastime ages ago. It was a slower spiral down for consoles, but the company has struggled for years to shore up its declining business. That's been reflected in its stock price, which has slowly settled from more than $60 in 2008 to well under $10 since mid-2019. A very strange thing happened last week, however. GameStop's price very suddenly skyrocketed to nearly $120 per share. That's odd enough in itself for a company that once seemed destined to suffer a blockbuster-style fate. But what makes it even weirder is the central role that Reddit played in the whole thing. The wheels actually started turning on all this last year, as reported by Wired. GameStop's dire straits led some investors to short the stock. In a short, investors win if the price of a stock decreases. It works like this. The investor borrows a bunch of shares of a company and then sells them. At that point, they have a bunch of cash and no shares, but the shares weren't actually theirs, and they eventually have to return them. When that time comes, they have to buy back the number of shares they borrowed, hopefully at a lower price than they sold them for, so that they earn money on the difference. The risk, of course, is that the price unexpectedly goes up instead of down, in which case the short sellers lose money because they have to pay more to buy back the shares than they sold them for. That's what happened here. GameStop's share price began to show signs of life last summer when Chewy co-founder Ryan Cohen bought a hefty stake in the company and began advocating for major changes. It got a further lift in October 2020 when GameStop announced a major multi-year partnership with Microsoft to incorporate its technology into its back-end and front-facing retail operations and to serve as a distribution center for the Xbox All Access program. GameStop's extensive store base focused on digital transformation in an omni-channel environment, and expert gamer associates remain an important part of our gaming ecosystem, and we're pleased to elevate our partnership, Xbox head Phil Spencer said at the time. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I'm trying to get to a point where... Okay, I'll keep going. The company's 2020 holiday sales results were also positive. Total shares were down 3.1%, but comparable store sales were up 4.8%, while e-commerce rose by 309%. The news was also good enough to lift GameStop's price even higher. Then, on January 19th, as shares reached the $40 mark, short seller Citron Research posted this warning. Tomorrow at 11:30 EST, Citron will livestream the 5 reasons GameStop buyers at these levels are the suckers at this poker game. Stock back to $20 fast. We understand short interest better than you and will explain. Thank you to viewers for POS feedback on last live tweet. Oh my god, this is all going over my head. Do you know what? I'm going to stop. Whew! Okay, this is a pretty complex tale of affairs, unless you understand stocks and shares. Difficult one to start on, but GameStop is flying high. Bib, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Right, so I'm going to try and break this down as much as I understand it. I've been reading up on this since it broke yesterday, and I've been trying to get an understanding of what the hell's going on. I'm not a person that's involved in stocks and shares. I haven't really got that kind of knowledge, but taking all the information that I've kind of gathered over the last 12 hours, I'll kind of break it down. So investors ended up buying them when they was at the lowest, because that's what you tend to do with stocks. You buy them at the lowest and then sell them for the highest that they could possibly be. Okay, so people had them, sold them, made quite a bit of money. Then they bet against GameStop going into administration. So very much like if you was to bet on football on an ACCA and you bet 10 teams are going to win, if 9 teams are winning and then one's a draw, your cash out price would be quite high. But if you let it run and all 10 teams win, you end up getting all of your money because you ended up winning the bet. But if it goes down, if 9 teams are winning and then the 89th minute 2 of the other teams equalise, or they end up going a goal behind, your cash return ends up getting smaller and smaller. So all the money that you ended up potentially winning goes out the window, right? So that's what I understand what people have done with this. They've sold their stocks at the highest price possible and then bet against the company going into administration with the money and profit that they've ended up having. I don't know if that's illegal. I don't think it is, because you kind of just, stocks is essentially betting at this point. And it's essentially, you're putting your money into something that could potentially make you money long term. All right. So the company have tried to do this, or people have tried to do this to us, because we've reported that GameStop are potentially on their last legs, very much like we reported that Game are in pretty much the exact same situation. So people who had made some money off of selling their stocks when they was at their potential highest have now tried to bet against them going into administration. But people on Reddit have managed to catch wind of this, and Elon Musk was obviously, I haven't seen Elon Musk tweet. I all I know is the Reddit side of it. So the Reddit users have caught wind of this, and they decided, you know what, fuck this, we're going to buy as many shares as we can. Therefore, more people keep on buying shares, the share price goes up. Therefore, the people's money who they tried to put into administration decreases, because technically the other side are winning. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I've just come to my own conclusion all by myself, and I would say that, completely off the top of my head, the intrinsic value hasn't changed. Seems like the retail investor will end up getting burned in the end, along with the hedge lads. GameStop situation is kind of like a microcosm of the rest of the market, inflated, overpriced, a joke, and will crash, which is bad for those timing the market either way. That's just off the top of my head. Thank you, Yeehaw, for the comments, by the way.
I mean, he is absolutely correct. The games like this, brick and mortar stores, unfortunately, at some point, maybe in the next 10 years, it may take that long, but long-term investors in this, it's not a sustainable thing. However, at the same time, the people who are going to be profiting of people losing their jobs and these brick and mortar stores that aren't going to be on our high street any for much longer, they're also losing a lot of money. So technically it's a lose-lose at this point, unless the people who end up making a lot of money now, because I've been seeing tweets of people who've invested at $25, who've invested at $45, who are now having their stocks valued at over $200. It's a lot of money that people are making very short. So if they sold all of theirs now, they'd have to make quite a little bit of profit. But in the end, I think both parties are going to lose this. These stores aren't going to last much longer. I'm going to say much longer, as I've just alluded to, 10 years maybe. We're selling consoles now that are just digital. You can't even put a disc in them. So I don't know how much. When was the last time we had a PC game that had a disc? Like, people just buy them off Steam and stuff like that. Again, what these articles allude to. So yeah, it's one of them things. I think eventually both parties are going to lose.
Does your PC have a disc drive?
It does, yeah.
Mine
I bought one with it.
Mine doesn't.
Okay, yeah. So I made sure when I bought one. I've still got loads of old PC games on disc, so I made sure that I bought one with it. But yeah, we're getting to a point now where we are going to be in a digital future. But I applaud the guys that have tried to fuck over the big boys who've potentially wanted to try and profit straight away from these companies going into administration. So GG's all round.
So that's quite a good place for me to jump back in to the article then. So applauding the guys for shitting on the big boys. If I jump back into the article, so we've just had Citron Research basically saying, giving their input on how the market should work. And then it says, that may have been a strategic mistake because shortly afterwards, Reddit got involved. The Wall Street Bet subreddit, which is largely day traders, decided to mess with them and make some quick money. Industry analyst and consultant Michael Futter told me. He also clarified that the subreddit's actions had nothing to do with propping up an ailing company out of some bizarre sense of nostalgia or with video games in general. They aren't interested in GameStop as a company, and it could quite literally have been any company. So GameStop's price went up so rapidly, Futter said, because a relatively large number of people, including conventional investors wanting to get in on a hot stock and short sellers needing to cover loans, apology for the noise, being called in, was suddenly trying to buy a limited number of shares in the company. The increased visibility brought about by the Reddit effect drove trader volumes even higher. Reddit definitely helped push it higher, Futter said. Think of it like amplifying any other kind of trolling. They are creating signal above the noise. The Reddit stuff is material because it led to GameStop being the most traded stock on the market on Friday. Without r/Wall Street bets, that doesn't happen. So the Wall Street bet, actually, yeah, we'll leave it there. I think we get the point of it from there. So, yeah, the big boys tried to make waves. The little boys decided to piss on them. Jobs are good. And long story short, GameStop is flying high. The interesting thing, though, is that, as this said, and I think Yeehaw said the same thing as well, and maybe Robo Daniel said it as well, maybe Robo didn't. But long story short, whilst this looks good for GameStop right now, it's not sustainable, and it's likely to flop back down and potentially even at a cost to GameStop. So it's good to see. Not indicative of the market. Brick and mortar retail still needs to evolve before it gets blockbusted. If in 20 years' time GameStop is still trading, then they will have evolved. If in 20 years' time GameStop appears in a throwback like Captain Marvel and Blockbuster, then you know it didn't work. So there you go. There you go. That's kind of what we're...
There's a graph in the middle of the article where it shows market summary and GameStop Corp, and you can kind of see where the new console launches are. Because the games, the lines just go flying right up. So obviously around 2003, I think it's quite low. It's pretty much where it is now, or was before obviously the stocks. 2006, 7, 8, you can start to see where like the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 came into play. Then around 2013, when they put the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 started to take off, and then the game started to be at an all-time high. Then as more and more digital games are starting to get sold, the profits are starting to go down because there's not enough footfall. It's starting to go up now. Is it not just because the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are around? Nah, it's not this time, unfortunately. It's on a massive decline, but you can start to see where the boosts were around the times where video games and new consoles are heavily popular because more people are going into the shop to try and buy the shit. And again, as I've just said, the digital future is kind of here and now. These shops aren't going to be around for much longer, but it's at its all-time highest, even when the video game boom is starting to come back into play again. So it looks good on paper, but I imagine the decline of this is going to be even sharper than what we've seen over the last 5 years.
Yeah, the interesting thing here as well is looking at the share prices. It's up to 76.79, which obviously is the highest it's been. But just look at that steep jump. You don't even see that. It's almost like it's just the edge of the graph because it's so vertical. But looking at the curves, the natural curves, if this is related to console progression, you've got trough and a peak, trough and a peak, trough and a peak. But yeah, it's not a natural peak. But if you're looking at the general line of that graph, the peaks and the troughs are lower and going down over the last 10 years. So, I mean, yeah, fair enough. The trough in 2011 to between 2010 and 2012 was higher than the previous trough, but the spikes weren't as high, and there was definitely a downward trend. So, yeah, it's still...
It's a gradual decline, though, as well. I mean, the one in 2009, 10, we shall call it, that's quite a drastic drop. But then it's been quite a steady drop since the new console, since 2014's console launch, or 2013, depending on which console it was. So you are seeing a small decline there, but this is going to be a sharp roller coaster when this one decides to... I mean, the people who are sat on are probably a gold mine now, who've probably bought these stocks for between $15 and $30, are now sitting on heavy stocks at 76 and beyond. It's a lot of money that they're sat on. I can't imagine them sitting on it for long, because they've made a lot of money in the last 12 hours, and we don't know how long this is going to last for. So I can imagine that it's going to... If you're one of the first to sell, you're probably going to get a decent chunk. If you're one of the last, you're probably going to end up losing money, and then everyone loses in the end.
Exactly. There you go. Do you know? Let's put this one to bed, because I don't feel like
you hear the sound of Graham's coin counter going on in the back.
Ka-ching, ka-ching. Keep buying stocks in GameStop, by the way. Speaking of GameStop, we did a Music Magpie collection and got rid of like a bajillion DVDs, and one of them had a GameStop like Stockport, I think it was, sticker on it from like 10 years ago or something like that. I didn't even know there was a GameStop in Stockport, so there you go.
Yeah, there was.
But yeah, there you go. That's my input. Nothing about stocks and shares, just that there was a GameStop in Stockport and we had a DVD, and we don't anymore. Let's put that to bed then. Let's move forward to something that we're probably all a little bit more comfortable discussing, and that's the Xbox Series X and S. The launch was the most successful in Microsoft's history. Xbox Game Pass hits 18 million. I've just messaged my mate. Sorry, when I read Demo 68 in the chat, I was like, "Is that someone I know?" So I messaged him, and he goes, "It might have been." You read my name, but I couldn't understand you. Cheeky git. Anyway, Xbox Series X and S launch was the most successful in Microsoft's history. Xbox Game Pass hits 18 million subscribers. This is written by Tom Ivan at VGC, and it says Microsoft said on Tuesday that the Xbox Series X and S recorded the biggest console launch in the company's history. Speaking on Microsoft's second quarter earnings call, CEO Satya Nadella said the company surpassed $5 billion in gaming revenue for the first time during the 3 months ending December the 31st, 2020. The launch of Xbox Series X and S was the most successful in our history, with the most devices ever sold in a launch month, he said. Nadella also announced that Xbox Game Pass now has 18 million subscribers, up from 15 million reported in September 2020. Microsoft's gaming business exceeded $2 billion in revenue from third-party titles for the first time during the quarter. We are gaining console share as gamers recognize the value of our broader ecosystem, Nadella claimed. Microsoft has struggled to meet demand for the Xbox Series X and S since their launch in November 2020. The company previously said demand for the consoles is expected to outstrip supply for the foreseeable future, with X and S shortages set to continue into spring 2021. On Tuesday's earnings call, Microsoft CFO Amy Hood reiterated that the company expects Xbox Series X and S supply to be constrained during the current quarter, ending March 31st, 2021. So if you're after an Xbox Series S or Series X, expect that to still be difficult. But Xbox don't care that much because they're bringing in the money. 18 million Game Pass subscribers, up 3 million from September. That's a huge step up. So 20% increase in that sort of time frame, and their biggest console launch ever. Not a bad time to be on the Xbox side of the console war, is it, Bib?
It most certainly isn't, no. The one thing that I would like to know is the breakdown of this. Now, is this including people who've managed to snag one of these consoles with a Xbox Games Pass subscription already built into their price point, like they've had to redeem a code for it. I can't remember in September if they've run any deals. So like we had one further early 2021, where you could get 3 months or 6 months for £1 or something like that. It was a stupidly good deal that I think a lot of people ended up taking up with. I'm still a subscriber now. I ended up getting that deal, and I'm still subscribed. But albeit, I did have the Ultimate, but I don't play on the Xbox, so I've only got it for PC now, which is obviously a hell of a lot cheaper. Because I only play with PC on it, which I'm playing Forza Horizon 4 now on it. What a game that is, by the way. If you haven't played that one and you've got a PC, please play it. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I ended up being one of those that I ended up getting in at a very low price and maintained my subscription through that. I think it's like £7 a month. This isn't an ad, by the way. I'm just giving you the raw numbers as to how they can try and make 18 million off of this, because that is a lot of subscriptions. I mean, we had this discussion, was it yesterday or Monday, that is Xbox Live and PlayStation Network an absolute necessity? At this moment in time, I think it is for a lot of people, which is probably why they grumbled at the doubled in price infrastructure that they're starting to put in, because it kind of is a necessity at this moment in time. You can't go out if you've got a console, you want to speak to your mates. That's pretty much what I do most nights if I'm not watching City. So 18 million subscribers, that's a lot of people I want to know how many consoles they've actually sold, though. Because I imagine a lot of people, this has been split between PC, Xbox One. I can't imagine there's a lot of people still subscribed on, well, you can't get Game Pass on Xbox 360, but Xbox One, PC, and the new console.
I believe it's more than 8 people. Consoles, should I say? I believe they've sold more than 8 consoles. I can. Do you know what? I'll put my house on the line. So there you go. There you go.
I'd love to see where this goes if the rumors are to be believed that Nintendo are going to get into bed with Xbox on this and try and bring Game Pass to the Nintendo Switch. I would love to see how the numbers start to go up with that, and whether or not it's the Nintendo market that believes in this product enough to be able to subscribe to it too. I mean, there could be if the Xbox Ultimate now is £14 for everything, including Xbox Live, PC, and Xbox. If they make it £22, and then you can play it on your Nintendo Switch as well, because I don't think they're going to give it away on there if you've already got it. I think they'll make you pay the difference to see whether or not people will take that kind of thing as well.
I find it an interesting one, because after watching Bedrooms to Billions, the PlayStation story, it was obviously focusing on the rise of PlayStation, but it gave you a lot of history in terms of how the market changed from being a Nintendo and then a Sega market and Atari even before that, and then watching the High Score documentaries on Netflix, you kind of, over all of those, you get a sense that Japanese gaming industries are not quick to jump into bed. Corporations are not quick to jump into bed with other corporations that could take the shine off them. So Nintendo 2 years ago may have been like, okay, the Wii U was a bit of a disaster. The Switch is picking up a bit of pace. Do we want to look at? I mean, we're getting crossplay-ish stuff on Fortnite. Do we want to look at maybe jumping in bed with Microsoft? I mean, we do crossplay with them. Should we look at that? But now, I think it's that their seat at the table is a bit different. Microsoft were going to be sat at the head of the table, and Nintendo probably a little smaller seat. Whereas now they're both sat at the heads of their own table. Microsoft smashing it in their market in terms of main consoles, Switch smashing it in their market of alternate consoles. I think that probably makes it a little bit less likely. Not that I don't think it's not going to happen. I think it still potentially could happen, but I think that means it's a bit less likely, because negotiations always run smoothly when one person has something to bring to the table. That means the one that doesn't usually gets shit on a bit in the deal, but the deal just happens because they have something and they want it. Whereas now when they both have something, they don't want to jeopardize what they have already. You can get a little bit more clashing, people at loggerheads. So I think Nintendo's huge revival, not just through lockdown, but obviously even before that, the Switch was excelling. I think that probably makes it a little bit more difficult to have a bit of a crossover, because Nintendo's like, yeah, buy our Switch, yay! Okay, you can pay a subscription fee for games made by other people, which makes you probably less likely to buy Luigi's Mansion 4 or Super Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever. So yeah, I think Nintendo now at this point might be thinking, why don't we just look at making our own games and maybe try our own subscription services. Maybe that's the way we go. That said, up 3 million in Game Pass subscribers in such a short amount of time. I think you're right in terms of there'll be a lot of new customers that haven't had Xboxes before, because the Xbox just doesn't have the market share that PlayStation have. If you have PlayStation users that pick up Xbox, they need Xbox Live. Why get Live when I can get Game Pass? So new Xbox players. From September till now, it's no surprise that there was such a huge jump because it's the start of a new generation. That's new users brought in. And like you say, the bundle where you get the full, the all-in package where you get the Xbox and the subscription services and paying it all for $24.99. Yeah, that'll definitely help massively add to those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox Live, I think it's £7 on its own, and then Games Pass on its own, I think, is about a tenner. So if you do end up getting the Ultimate, you end up saving money. But luckily for me, you don't need Xbox Live to be playing on PC. As far as I'm aware, I mean, I've only got Xbox Game Pass for PC. I don't own Xbox Live, and I'm still able to play online. So I'm guessing because it's PC, I get that for £7 a month, which I'm more than happy playing with the amount of games that we beat Streets of Rage on it and playing Forza Horizon 4 on it. And I'm going to be starting hopefully soon Fallout 76 because I do want to get into that. But we always keep on saying that Game Pass is the best value in video games at this moment in time, and I think it will be for the foreseeable future.
I think you've probably said that 3 times in a row, because I don't know if Daniel was here when we were actually joking about him the other day. Bibby was mentioning that whenever he mentions Game Pass being the best deal in gaming, you're there. so
yeah, if you say it 3 times fast, you turn up behind me.
Let me jump back up. Rumours are the Wolf of Wall Street is actually based on Bibby's secret life. He knows stocks. Don't believe him. That's true. I mean, Bibby went, I've done a bit of I'm not quite sure. Let me see it. And then just goes and explains the whole article that I've not even read yet. It's like, fuck yeah, okay. Absolutely. Listen,
if I've explained that correctly, then I'm going to start investing now, because I still feel I've absolutely butchered that. But it's just what I've come to the conclusion of with my very limited reading of these articles. So if that's how stocks work, and I've done my own work, and I'm going to start investing all of my wages now.
Well, I was about to say, has anyone seen Bibby and Yeehaw in the same room? Because someone else called Yeehaw Jordan Belfort. Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't see it. I was like, fuck, I have. Okay, well, that's that theory gone out the window. Yeehaw Jordan Belfort and Bibby's the Wolf of Wall Street. They are the same person. Maybe they're just in cahoots. That's what it is. They are the ones that are pushing the market stuff up and down. But yes, Callum with a good point, which I did see actually. Got a notification this morning. The Series S is available now on Amazon. It may have gone by now, but it was definitely there by 8-ish this morning. IGN UK Deals put a post out regarding it as well. So if you're after a Series S, check Amazon. Usually, because of logistics, simple logistics, it's usually easier to ship things in bulk, which could mean that it was just full of Series S, the containers that were shipped, or there may be some X's as well that may have been and gone, but there may be more. So if you are interested, Amazon is a good place to look. Jordan says, can't wait to see Halo Infinite. One of the pro Halo staff said we will see something next month when I was in his stream yesterday. Ooh, I wonder if it's better than 720p or whatever it runs at or something like that. Is that what it runs at? That's what they said. I'm not joking. I like the fact that they just binned off any attempt at getting it in the launch window. Horrendous decision marketing-wise, because you're just opening yourself up. Not horrendous decision. Horrendous choice marketing-wise, because you're opening yourself up to shit and memes, but the absolute best decision long-term marketing-wise, because the game wasn't good enough, and if it comes out and it's as good as everyone would expect Halo game to be, then GG.
I did see something that they was going to start doing monthly meetings, like monthly expos showing what the stage of Halo that they're at. So obviously they give us something last time and it wasn't up to scratch and people just ripped the fuck out of it, but I think they're trying to be a bit more transparent now to say this is where we're up to, this is what these look like now, here's a little bit of gameplay. But apparently they're going to do that every month. If Jordan wants to confirm that, I'm sure he's more clued up than I am, but it's just something that I've come across on Twitter and Reddit, so I'll be very interested to see if that actually comes to fruition, because it's a very bold move. I know I said on Monday about the Resident Evil showcase, or was it Friday, about them saying it's nice to see that every maybe twice a year we get to see what our favorite IPs and franchises are, depending on what they've got in the year. It doesn't make much sense to be able to do it just for one game, but obviously the Resident Evil franchises, games and TV media, so we get to see a lot more of that, so it makes sense for them to be able to do that. How they're going to do that every single month with Halo, I'm not too sure. but I imagine it's going to be good viewing because we get to see kind of behind the curtain with that kind of thing, which I do enjoy seeing from time to time, especially if it's relevant, not just say it's a 5-minute show of here's our new storyboard. Oh, look what the graphics look like now. That doesn't make much sense. It needs to be a substantial amount of information.
I'd love to see that sort of stuff because we don't see that sort of stuff as often. I mean, we're probably doing some areas, but not in others. So I remember like a lot of E3 conferences and things have dropped off, but I used to love getting the Konami conference and seeing all of the news from Konami titles and stuff. Obviously, that dropped off about 5 years ago, maybe more. And that kind of like got whittled down to like the big guns that could compete, and then obviously the ones that weren't spending a shit ton on advertising and stuff just kind of put their brands into the big guns conferences. They went into the first party conferences and things. I'd like to see. I know it is first party because it's Halo and it is Xbox, but I'd like to see just that brand specific stuff. If we could see that, I mean, we saw it with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. That established itself so much that we got the Night City Wire content. I mean, a little bit too dragged out because of the issues and stuff. But yeah, give me that. Even if I'm not interested in Halo, give me regular gaming content. Yes, please, I will take it.
A little peek behind the curtain is always nice from time to time, but only if it's substantial. Because I mean, I watched the ESO show last night. It was like a 4-hour stream.
Of course you did.
Into Gates of Oblivion. It was a good stream. I didn't watch it all because 4 hours is a lot. I mean, most films aren't even that long anymore, and it was just, if I'm being honest, it was quite dull in terms of the presentation that they kind of put forward. It was just a lot of talking, and it felt like it went on for far too long. However, it's interesting being an ESO fan. That kind of thing, because it's a big expansion, you can understand why they do that, and it's a massive peek behind the curtain. They was talking about all the different armor pieces you can have and the different characters that are coming into it and all the different raids and things like that, but it just felt a little bit too long. But it's nice to see that companies want to be able to do that and give the information. I mean, I love ESO and I love Elder Scrolls, but I'm not the biggest nerd in the world when it comes to ESO. So that might have been absolutely perfect for someone that's their entire year made up. That's their entire year made up with a conference like that. But for me who enjoys it, it was a bit much. But again, I love the fact that they're giving us that massive. It wasn't a sneak peek behind the curtain. It was literally unveiling the entire thing, which is perfect, really.
Just want to point out that Madge said sex ban continues to take shape in Graham's house, I hear. Yes, it does. Yeah. He then also says table making happening right now at Graham's place, suitable for any console executives. There you go. Speaking of consoles, by the way, humble brag. Oh, my camera's moved. No. Humble brag. You can't quite see it, but the PS4 is now a PS5. Yay!
Great style. So you've got the digital one in your room?
Yeah, digital one's in the room because that's nice and slimline and fits next to the tower out of the way. The disc one is downstairs. And that's probably the way. I mean, most of the games that I'm going to play on the console on stream are going to be digital anyway. If I pick up any disc ones, it's probably more likely that will be a me/Danielle playthrough in the living room, cinematic sort of experience. So that's kind of the way I went.
Makes sense. What are you doing with your 4 Pro then?
Chloe. So Chloe's getting the 4 Pro, and then I'm gonna snatch back the Metal Gear Solid 5 PS4 that Chloe has, which is mine. So I'm gonna take that back. So display purposes. Yeah. Nice. Okay, let's jump ahead. You probably saw what the article was in the alternate cam because it was on the screen there. But if you didn't, I'll tell you anyway, because that's what the point of the show is. It's written by Andy Robinson at VGC, and it says, Hitman devs James Bond game won't feature a movie actor. Could be a trilogy. IO discusses 007 deal and reveals rights holders didn't think the previous games were worthy. Hitman developer IO Interactive has revealed more details on its plans for a James Bond video game project, revealing that it won't lean on any of the existing 007 actors. IO's project James Bond was announced via a short CGI trailer in November. The game was described as a wholly original Bond story that will be powered by IO's Glacier technology and releases for consoles and PC. Let me just hit play on the video. It doesn't really show you anything, but I'll keep it there for you anyway. Speaking in a new interview with Danish publication DR, studio head Hakan Abrak revealed new details on the Bond project, including further confirmation that it will not be based on any of the 24 films that have been released over the last 60 years. According to Abrak, IO intends to build a James Bond universe from scratch, We've been allowed to make our own digital Bond, which will not lean on a Bond actor, he said. We also came up with a completely original story, and you could easily imagine that a trilogy could come out of it. The studio head also revealed details on how the deal came about. Abrak said Hayao had been working on a Bond pitch for almost 2 years and eventually presented it to 007 producer Barbara Broccoli in London last year. Broccoli is the owner of Eon Productions, the British company that makes the James Bond films. As such, she has final say on any deal involving the fictional super spy. According to Abrak, Broccoli had sworn that 007 would not appear in another video game because she did not feel that previous games were worthy enough and that it was violence for the sake of violence. At the beginning of the meeting, she had a very expressionless face, but the further into the meeting we came, she bled up and started smiling, he said. One could see that the younger members of the family lit up when they saw that she was reacting. Our story, our background with the Hitman universe, and our vision of what Bond is in a game format went straight to the heart of Barbara Broccoli herself. The IO boss said the studio hopes to double its employees to 400 for the Bond project, which will be partly developed by its new Swedish studio based in Malmö. According to the project's official website, IO Interactive is currently recruiting elite talent to join the team. Sorry, me and Bib are taken, unlucky boys. At the time of publishing, it's advertising for more than 20 roles, including for technical director, lead game designer, and executive producer. I think we can pause at that point there. Hitman devs say the game won't feature any of the movie actors from any of the 24 films, but could lead into being a trilogy. I particularly like that idea. I mean, I'm probably going to jump in ahead of you there. In terms of the Spider-Man game was exceptional, and that didn't feature Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland or anyone else. It built its own story and went that way. Nice. Give me that. But what are your thoughts, Bib?
Yeah, I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but have we ever had a 007 game that is built around stealth? Because as far as my knowledge goes with James Bond games, they have very much like what she said. I mean, not as strongly as she said. There's obviously a lot of pushback of that with Barbara, Mrs. Broccoli, that it was violence for the sake of violence. It's, yeah, fair enough. It's a shooting game. What do you expect? But this spin on it kind of being from the Hitman developers, IO. That's cool. I like the sound of that. I'm not a Hitman kind of guy. I don't like the guy games. It's just not for me. But a 007 spy game where it's 90% stealth and then there's a little bit of action in there as well. That suits the characteristic of James Bond, and it surprised me that we haven't had something like this before. What about you?
Box. Let me just. I'm currently butchering the discussing now. So does it fit? There we go. It fits now. I mean, stealth would definitely fit in with Bond. I mean, I see it more like what Lucasfilm are going after with James Bond. Or I assume, we've not seen any of that. This is just a bold assumption. I assume Lucasfilm are going to give James Bond the Lara Croft / Uncharted. So, Uncharted, Lara Croft, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order. Reading the broccoli stuff in the chat.
I've just read Yeah's comment.
007 licensed to broil. The name is cauliflower. Cauliflower. Don't let broccoli near this game. Someone check on Yeehaw. Make sure he's okay. It was the bit earlier on where it just said Barbara Broccoli. Lol.
As soon as you said that name, I couldn't concentrate. I'm sorry, Babs. I am sorry.
That's it. There goes our sponsorship from Barbara Broccoli. Fuck's sake, guys. God. Barbara Broccoli was green with envy before IO got involved. Hey. Yeah, I think stealth would have good use in a spy game. The thing is, like, whilst James Bond is a spy, you kind of feel, spy, siphon filter-ish sort of thing. But it's in the films, it's not really that. So I think you would want some of that in it. But I would see it being more cinematic, because it's obviously the movie tie-in. But rather than just, like she put it in her words, violence for violence sake, I would want to see James Bond is meant to be an intelligent spy who thinks at what he's doing. So I would want that intelligence bit tied into... I think that works very well with that Uncharted problem solving. You've got puzzles and stuff like you had in Tomb Raiders and Uncharted and things like that. I want to see puzzles that you can fix. I want to see some action sequencey bits, and I want to see some stealthy infiltration, get the stuff and get out bits. The downside is when a game does all of that, the stealth stuff is usually just basic. Quick, hide behind that desk while the guard goes over there. Run out and grab the USB stick. Oh no, you need to press the button to do the... hide behind the desk again. And then as you get it, you've been spotted. Now you have to run to exit the building really quickly. You can see that kind of what's going to... So as long as it does that, fine. But I am genuinely really excited for this. I like the Hitman games. I like IO Interactive. And when playing the Hitman games, I did have Bond vibes, and that's going back to the first Hitman 5-6 years ago, wherever it was. I did have... I mean, obviously, you're a dude in a suit and tie, and you're kind of infiltrating and being a bit spyish, so you kind of get Bondish. That's Bondish. Calm down, babe. Anyway, I know we've got Sex Bound on the go. It's not ready yet. So yeah, I kind of already had Bond vibes previously. The fact that IO have then picked up Project 007... I'm very, very excited to see this. I'd love to see it.
I've just seen a comment at the bottom of the article. So I like the sound of an original Bond, like what Agent Under Fire did, in brackets, where it was quite an underrated game. It's funny, though, how much of a Boomer Broccoli sounds, though. No problem with the amount of violence in a Bond film, but bothered by it in video game form.
I think that's contextual, because you can see violence in Bond films, but they're usually... like to push the story forward. You just watch it and it happens. You usually see the stunts, or you see some free running, or you see a big explosion or something like that. In a video game, because you have to act through it, it's a little bit more... You can have the same amount in a video game as you can in a movie, but because you're actively participating in it, you have to do it correctly. So I think that's probably what she's getting at. But yeah, the comment does definitely make a good point there. It's like, oh yeah, it needs to be nailed on. It needs to be really good. Yeah, but some James Bond films have been really shit and had crap sequences as well. So, par for the course, one for the other. The downside is it's unfair to pin that violence for violence sake on video games, because a lot of the problems with video games that work with existing IP is getting sign-off from the people that hold the license and the existing IP. So in theory, IO Interactive could come back with an exceptional game, and they go to get sign-off, and then it's like too many chefs. The people at Eon Entertainment could go, actually, no, we need more explosions. Actually, we need more guns. Actually, we need James Bond to not be as emotionally available there. We need him to be cold and calculated. And suddenly they start putting their brand guidelines and their input, and it waters everything down. So I bet a lot of the problems with games before, whilst I kind of agree with what Barbara Broccoli. Whilst I kind of agree with what she says, it's probably not just on the games. It will be hugely on them. Also, I want to have a massive argument now, because Bibby said there has been no stealth in Bond games previously.
That was bullshit.
So that's not true, because if anyone's played GoldenEye, you can hide an event as Oddjob. If that is not stealth, I don't know what is. So there you go. It's just
I have no idea what just happened. I can't see what everybody else sees.
It's my
what am I hearing say bullshit?
It's my bullshit button. I've got a bullshit button. I don't use it very often.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. It was actually down there on the floor, because I did for a short period of time use it as a doorstop to keep the door open when it was summer and it was super hot and I needed the heat coming in, but I didn't want my door to keep going doo-doo. So there you go. So there you go. Let's jump back. Lots of chat. S is decent if you're after a simple 1080p console with next-gen features, says NX. Might be the infinite... Oh, no, we've gone through that stuff. Yeah, Gary says, I hope Craig from Halo Infinite has had a makeover. He looked like he was made in 1998 during the first announcement. That is true. Yeah, every month from next month, releasing Halo Infinite month. Already shown some in-engine shots of the Spartans and weapons, which looked incredible. Going to be interesting how Halo sells Xbox, but also how much it's improved since its first showing. Tito says, couldn't look much worse. Touche. Good I can't get audio from a PS5, even though I got some new SteelSeries 9s. In what way? Can you not just send all audio to headphones? Or do you need an audio splitter, a HDMI splitter, to get the digital optical out? Is that what you're talking? I mean, SteelSeries do come with is it the DAC? Which the digital audio converter, or whatever it's called. You can get that with some SteelSeries headsets. But anyway, we'll talk about it separately. IO are going to hit the 007 game out of the park, man, says Gary. Cheers, Gary. Gary says they're going to smash it. Not Gary. Asim says they're going to smash it. Been playing Hitman 3 and it's a special stealth game. There's one mission in particular that has Bond/Bourne vibes. In terms of this news, great that it isn't related to the movie and is an original story in the universe. I think that's the best thing. I know that the new Spider-Man on PS5 has been tweaked so that the face looks a bit more like Tom Holland. That's not a decision to make it look more like Tom Holland. That's just an actor that better suits that to do. Hey, she's gorgeous. So that is just a decision in terms of the casting of the acting, getting the most out of the players the characters on screen. But even if it did look like Tom Holland, if it didn't come with the weight of trying to stick to Tom Holland's story, I like the fact that it's someone different because you get free reign. You develop that relationship with that character, and that's the best thing with a game series, be it a solo game or be it a trilogy, as this could be. You want the story built within that game. And you don't want to kind of... The shit thing with Batman for me is there's always that horrendously overwrought story of you've got to find out that his mum and dad were shot in an alleyway whenever the reboot, and it's blah, 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 blah. Okay, the best bits of Batman is when you get past that. So Batman Begins was a great film because it did have a lot of that, but it focused more on how that started to develop Bruce Wayne as a character. But that getting out of the way meant that The Dark Knight could truly be exceptional. And in video games, if it doesn't have to stick and it doesn't have to bring in all of that history stuff, they can spend a little bit of time building their story, but then build into their own exceptional boom or climax, which is a word that I didn't want to use because sex band talk, climax and all that shit. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree. We've seen it with Spider-Man. Give them the free reign to do what they want, and don't constrain them. And it's better for not just the game, but for the films and everything around it as well. James Bond is a shit spy, and definitely not stealthy or intelligent. He goes around telling everyone his blood name for a start. Twice, pretty much. James Bond, which is a Lee Evans comedy skit there, by the way. I can't get over the fact that she sounds like some sort of advertising character to get kids to eat their vegetables. Yeah, she's absolutely on the side of like a Munch Bunch broccoli pack kind of thing. and the other one, Colin Cauliflower, is on the other one. Yeah. Don't forget, IO also did Kane and Lynch, so they have action game history too, combined with their stealth pedigree and expert level design. Can't see them not smashing. No, I agree. Kane and Lynch, what a 3-hour game that was, says Madge. I liked it, as semi-janky as it was. Apart from George Lazenby, the only Bonds still alive are the last three, Dalton, Brosnan, and Craig. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Daniel Craig, does give you a bit more of a sense of James Bond not being super intelligent, but he was always supposed to be not like nerdy intelligent, but he was always supposed to be really clever. And I suppose you do get that with Daniel Craig, but they also tried to make him a bit more human. But the idea of James Bond is someone that is smart, maybe not he's not intelligent. He's very intelligent, but it's more just a case of knowledge on the fly, make shit happen, do shit. So yeah, that doesn't necessarily translate to stealth, because stealth is not knowledge on the fly. Stealth is pre-planned, premeditated. I know where I'm going. Her husband was Cubby Broccoli. There you go. Okay, let's move ahead. One that has got Bibby excited this morning This one, Back to PC Gamers, written by Rich Stanton, and it says Biomutant evolves into a game with a release date. The anticipated cat kung fu adventure will be out in May. The much anticipated and long in development Biomutant will be released on May the 25th. Developed by Experiment 101 and published by THQ Nordic, Biomutant is an action RPG with a kung fu cat you genetically modify throughout the adventure, an omnipresent narrator, and big promises about how your choices affect the game's events. Just want to point out that the game has a cat, so it's absolutely no surprise that this is something that has Bibby excited. I mean, 25% of Bibby's stream is cats, so there you go. Biomutant is coming to PlayStation, PC, PS4, and Xbox One on May the 25th, 2021, according to a tweet embedded in the article. And it goes on to say the game has been in development since 2015 and was at one point scheduled for a summer 2019 release, with the subsequent delays leading some to worry the project had been cancelled. At the time, developer Experiment 101 put the delays down to the game's sheer magnitude, size, and length. Biomutant's never been a game short of big talk around it. Oh my god, it's the advert and stuff getting in my way. Okay, start again. Biomutant's never been a game short of big talk behind it, and many have high hopes for this one. We'll find out if it was worth the wait in May, and fingers crossed, we'll be feline fine. Yeah. So Biomutant, Bib, excited?
Yes. Yes. I did see obviously another article which it got put into this, but it was a hella long article. It was just breaking everything down, like what kind of game is Biomutant, what is the story, how will it affect the way that you play the game, blah blah blah. Nowhere in the articles that I've been reading does it actually show any gameplay, so I had to go onto YouTube and had a look at the gameplay, and I was like instantly hooked. It plays, if anyone's ever played it, Devil May Cry, it plays like that, but you're a cat. What more can you ask for? But yeah, it looks amazing. It's
Devil Meow Cry. No? Okay.
If you've not got that as the discussing now, you're a fucking idiot.
Well,
as I see him looking at it, are you looking at changing it?
I just copied and pasted the word Biomutant off of the screen. I'm now deleting that to change it to Devil Meow Cry.
But yes, this game looks. I absolutely love Devil May Cry. I've not played any of the recent ones, but growing up playing the first three, fantastic games. But this looks amazing. Definitely, it's something that's caught me by surprise, as now leading the games that I really, really want to play this year. I'm looking forward to it. Have you seen anything from this? Again, it just completely caught me by surprise. I'd not even heard of this, if I'm being honest. It's only this morning when I was looking for stuff to talk about that I seen a cute cat thing on a thumbnail, and then it instantly made me want to click it.
No, this one, I may have heard of it. I also may have heard of it and forgotten about it, or I may have just never heard of it at all. I have the gameplay trailer from 2020 playing, and no, this one has absolutely passed me by. I've not seen this at all, which has been echoed in the chat. Mad says, Biomutant, honestly never heard of this. Gary says, that's such a huge delay, that's so poor. Poor.
Have you got the gameplay trailer, like the reveal trailer?
The gameplay trailer that's like 10 minutes long.
Ah, okay. Right, yeah.
I'm going to skip forward a little bit, though, because we've got, like, Fluffy Cat. Oh, there we go, some fights. Okay, all I'm seeing is Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Cat. But yeah, it definitely looks like the kind of game that I could get into. There was one clip that I saw when I was looking at the gameplay stuff, and it looked Devil May Cry meets Dark Souls in the way that you approach enemies and want to attack them. So when you go to attack an enemy, for instance, you have to dodge, you have to strike, and then it was like I think it was a counter move. So when the enemy was sweeping a bat, you came in and you attacked at the same time, and you like cut the bat in half, which I thought was pretty cool. I've not really seen that kind of element in a game like that before. So
that's because it's a new genre, according to Asim. It's hack and scratch.
Yeah, it's definitely one that caught me by surprise that I'm now super looking forward to.
So Biomutant is coming out later this year. I think it was May. I don't actually have it on screen anymore. Yeah, there you go. Out in May. So if you're interested in playing that, May 25th, 2021, PC, PS4, and Xbox One, you've got to feel forward compatible as well, so you can play that on your next gen consoles. You'd imagine.
Yeah. I looked at the PC specs and there wasn't that high. Because Because I thought, this might be something
been
that...
developed since 2016, so it's built for Windows 95. It's fine.
Well, when your operating source says that it's available on Windows 7, you're kind of like, okay, is this going to look the best? But yeah, it's coming out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And then obviously, like you said, you can play it on your new consoles with backwards compatibility. So yeah, it's definitely. I want to see how much it's going to be. Is there a pre-order somewhere? I don't know whether or not it's going to be a full pricer.
I couldn't see it there. Schedule
pre-order on Steam. Here we go. Let's have a look. Oh, it hasn't got a price. It just says add to your wish list, which I will do.
Okay, we'll put a pin in that bit then. So, from one game that was delayed and is now scheduled to come out in 2021 to another game that was scheduled to come out in 2021, which has now been delayed. This is our final news article of the day, written by Matt Wales at Eurogamer. It says, Lord of the Rings Gollum has been delayed into next year. And are you ready for this? The tagline, Tolkien longer than expected. That's genius. That is genius. Well done, Matt Wales at Eurogamer. Anyway, developer Daedalic, is that... I'm going to stick with that. If it's wrong, tough. Developer Daedalic Entertainment's Lord of the Rings Gollum will no longer release this year, as originally announced, and is now due to arrive on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC in 2022. Let me hit play on the trailer in this article as well, so you've got something to feast your eyes on if you're in the video or the stream. Excuse me. Specifics regarding Lord of the Rings Gollum have been limited since the action adventure was announced back in March 2019, but we finally got a clearer idea of how things might play out last August when Daedalic released the very first trailer and gameplay breakdown. While the cinematic trailer wasn't giving much away, Daedalic did confirm it's shooting for subtle tactical stealth, environmental puzzling, climbing challenges, and fast-paced parkour action, all playing out across a mixture of open levels and more linear missions. More intriguingly, there's a branching narrative element dictated through story decisions and dialogue choices. Here, players can influence Gollum's inner conflict, giving prominence to either Smeagol or Gollum's side of his personality, which will affect certain gameplay situations, dialogue, even animations and sound. At the time of its update, August update, Daedalic said to expect the game on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC in late 2021. However, a new press release announcing a publishing and distribution deal between Daedalic and Nacon has confirmed those initial release plans have changed, with Lord of the Rings Gollum now set to launch in 2022. There's no explanation for the day, but hopefully for the delay. There we go. But at present, but hopefully Daedalic will share more soon. My God, my mouth just gave up with words towards the end of that, but hopefully it made sense. No explanation on the delay, but more coming soon. Nice. Bib. Lord of the Rings Gollum, not this year, next year. Tolkien longer than expected. What are your thoughts?
Again, it just comes down to take your time with these games now. I mean, I like the look of the trailer. I know Jordan said this doesn't look good in any way. I actually quite like the trailer. I think graphically it looks good, but it is a CGI trailer, so Christ knows what the game's going to look like. I'm interested to see more. Let's see where this goes.
I don't think it looks horrible. I'm going to put it back on again for those that may not have been paying attention to it. The trailer is just starting now. I didn't think it looked that bad. What does everyone else think the same? I know it doesn't really show you anything. You're just seeing Lord of the Rings aesthetic. You're inside Gollum / Smeagol's cave. So it's kind of hard to take anything from there. I mean, what is it that turns you off in that sense? I mean, is it the character? Is it the movements? Because even the facial animations don't look too bad. I mean, Gollum, the character of Gollum looks a little bit more childish, I suppose, which I could see being a turn-off. But I could see that, I don't know, I take that with a pinch, because is that a younger Gollum because the story is earlier in the years? Is that just the way that they're designing the characters for them, so they make sure that people see it as something separate? Are they trying to break away from the film so they don't have that Andy Serkis digital representation and they have their own thing? I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen nothing that makes me think, okay, it's shit. I do prefer the Andy Serkis cinematic version of Gollum from the movies, because I mean, there's a reason it was so successful, to that almost cartoonized version, but it's probably a bit early for me to kind of stick the boot in there. Gary says, I wonder if the delay will be as long as the fucking books. David says, if it gets delayed again, there might be Mordor. Mordor/murder. GG. Daniel says, I think a lot of people don't like it because it's not the same as the movie version. People are scared of change. See, I see that. I mean, a lot of people had that, and myself as well, actually, with Marvel's Avengers. Thor, you can kind of get, as long as he's got like an old English sort of accent, obviously with a twang of Australian if you're Chris Hemsworth, then you kind of, long hair, that's Thor. But Robert Downey Jr. was so... I mean, Iron Man was Robert Downey Jr. It wasn't so much of an accent and a role. It was obviously an amplified version of his cocky self. It's hard to do that. So the Iron Man in the game didn't... It was almost like... I mean, a reference I gave Bibby, I can't remember what we were talking about the other day, but Robot Cop, which was a knockoff RoboCop toy. You can see it was trying to be the same thing, but not
Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, that's what it was. Chaos Taxi, or whatever it is, Taxi Chaos or something. So, Thor looked good. Iron Man less so. Tony Stark looked like it was trying to be more like Tony Stark from the films and less like Tony Stark from the TV shows and cartoons, and it just looked like a generic default build man. Whereas that, I think, still has enough character for me to see it fine. I'm happy enough to go with that. It doesn't turn me off that much. I quite like what this publisher releases, so I'm surprised it's delayed, as they are small. So I'm not surprised it's delayed, as they are small-ish, says Magic Man. Yeah, that's true. They are small. They're working on a big project that needs to be decent, and pandemic still, so that's probably played a part in it too. So it doesn't surprise me. Nolan North did Iron Man in the game. It was very jarring. Did he really? See, I only did the 2-hour intro thing, and then it had to do a continue with the install whilst I was streaming it, so I never went back to it. So I didn't get to hear enough of it for that to click, but I didn't know that. I saw a toy of the Hulk once with big red lipstick called the Kook. This is the Robert Cop reference I stole from Toby, who's no longer part of the ice cream team. He died a few years ago. He didn't really die. That's just what we say when someone leaves. But it's better than most references. So there you go. Google image search. Is this is Robert Cop 2. The funniest thing is, it's clearly one of those that's where someone's just typed the words because it looks like what it's supposed to say. It's not the future of law enforcement. It's the furniture of law enforcement. That's what you want. Yeah, just touch him, says the button thing to the side. So Robert Cop, horrendous. The furniture of law enforcement. Nice. So yeah, as long as Lord of the Rings Gollum isn't the furniture of Lord of the Rings, then I'll give it its dues. I'll give it some time. I mean, I'm open to more in the Lord of Rings universe. So yeah, that's fine by me. I will wait and see. I like the fact that it is Daedalic Entertainment that's delivering it, and not like a big monolith Warner Brothers production kind of thing. It's something that'd be a little bit smaller. We might get that sort of indie storytelling kind of vibe for it, obviously with a bit more budget than indie, but yeah, I'm open to the idea. Robert Cop, OMG, Bobby Cop, the English version. Maybe that's where it comes from. Maybe Robert Cop is why they call Bobbies. It's probably not, because that's older, but there you go. Anyway, let's wrap things up with his Terminator catchphrase on the box. I will be back. There was loads of them. Last time I searched for... there you go. Do you know what? We should just do an episode looking at knockoff toys. Star Warsiers. Rather than Darth Vader, you've got Door Ladder. Yoda, they've just gone for Wise Puppet. And then Luke Skywalker. Fuck it, we can't think of anything that's similar to Luke or Skywalker, so Karate Farmer. There we go. There's Wise Puppet himself. Do you know what Wise Puppet looks like? Genuinely, that looks like when you see people do like the Pepe Hands emote on Twitch, but they import their face into it. That looks like someone's just like, that's it. That's Robert Downey Jr. That's Iron Man's face on Yoda. That's what it is. Anyway, on that bombshell, what a tangent and a half. We are going to wrap things up. Oh boy, do I have a subreddit for you. Yes! Reddit crappy off brands. Oh my god, I'm going to save that. I am going to save that, and we're going to look at that some other time. Nice. But for now, we are going to disappear. We are over and above our allotted time limit, so we are going to disappear. We'll be back potentially later, depending on how my house setup-ish stuff goes with video games, because Wednesday, nice. We're probably going to have to keep with the delaying to the restart of Masters of the League, so anyone looking to see some PES stuff, apologies for keeping you delayed there, but that needs green screens and the audio not being in place and stuff. It kind of breaks the immersion and stuff, so we're waiting until all of this is done, so probably no PES stuff today, but maybe something else. The best way to find out is to follow the channel. You get notifications when we go live. But before we look at any of those other content pieces, babe, is there anything that you would like to add?
Yes, again, thank you very much to each and every one of you that have joined us today, contributed, hosted us, and just generally been lurking if you didn't want to get involved. But if you do want to get involved, there is 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. Second way, get into our Discord. There's an area on the left-hand side. All we need from you is the URL to the article, along with your thoughts and opinions. We will then give you our thoughts and opinions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
Well, that will be at 10 a.m. Ish. 10 a.m. ish. Thank you very much for the social shout-out, Iceman. What a guy. What a
nice
guy.
One.
Magic Man says the little Yoda looks like Mel Brooks' yogurt. Spaceballs! What a film. And the Discord as well. What a guy. That's it. Goodness me, we will be back potentially shortly, if not 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic day.
And stay frosty.